So I wish years ago I'd have learnt this simple technique to improve my chipping, where I can simply stand up, put a swing on it, strike it pure, and even though that one's released a little bit more, just a high quality golf shot. Now, far too often though, I see golfers do the mistakes that I've made for years up until now. And what I tend to see is golfers getting the ball opposite their back foot. Lots and lots of shaft lean, really getting that weight forward and feeling like they hit down on the golf ball. And that one a little bit heavy, but it's kind of done okay. You can see there the club really dug into the ground. Or, having done one of those, again, they set up in that manner. They then thin one. And if you're really unlucky, you might break your playing partner's ankles with that. So, it's about getting that technique correct. And ideally, what we want to do is slightly tweak our setup to make it much easier to get the back edge of the club, the bounce, touching the ground rather than the leading edge. All the bad ones, that leading edge is digging into the ground. All the best players in the world use the back edge, get that shaft more upright. So what we're looking to do is keep the ball much more central in the stance. Yes, we're looking to move that sternum just slightly ahead of the golf ball, and that's going to create a tiny bit of shaft lean. Now, once we make the swing, it's very like a putting stroke, but we want to try and return the shaft with the same amount of shaft lean. So we don't want to swing back and drag the handle forward, because then we'll undo all that good work. So, ball in the middle, sternum in front of the ball, and get that shaft lean back to address. See, nipped it beautifully and learned a little bit from the first one. So I'm playing this with loft. Now, the danger for a lot of guys is you might not play it with 56. I don't mind, and I'm going to show you in a second a different club, and then I'm going to play some different lies. But this technique is all about getting that club interacting with the ground, so you can see that I'm not actually taking a divot. The club's just gliding along the ground. So again, let's set up with the 56 degree, ball in the middle, sternum forward, little putting stroke. Now, just caught that one a little bit heavy, but the beauty there is because the club hasn't dug, you can see how that still gets to kind of 12 foot. So that's a bad chip, but it's much, much better than the one where you're here, catch it a little heavy, and then it's close enough that you don't have to change club because you've got the same shot again. So let's go one more, try and get a really good one, try and chip this one in. So I'm picking a landing point on the green. I'm going to have a practice swing looking at that landing point to get a feel for how big a swing to make. And then I'm going to set up, make the swing. Pulled it. That bounced a lot harder than I thought and really, really rolled on. Can't finish on that one. Let's go one more. That's the strike. There's the release and robbed. So I played those first few shots with my 56 degree. Now I know a lot of you may have already commented about you wouldn't play that. So I'm now going to play the same shot with the 7-iron. So obviously much less loft. I'm going to use the same technique to use that back edge. Obviously now a smaller swing and get the ball landing a little bit closer to me and then running more like a putt. So once I'm set up, ball in the middle, sternum forward. That one rolled a lot more than I thought, but strike was pure. Then I've picked the wrong landing point. I've played a great shot, just shown some poor judgment. So again, set up, try and land it a little closer to me. And probably for me, I can't actually land 7-iron quite on the green and not get it going past the hole. So I'm going to try and land it just in the fringe. Same technique. just got it on the green. But you can see distance control was better. Just randomly, that one just wandered off to the left. So, very simple technique. Ball in the middle, no shaft lean to begin with. As the sternum moves forward, there's marginal shaft lean, and then that rocking of the shoulders like a putting stroke, and just try to get that shaft lean as close at impact as we had it at address. Okay, so this is a really different type of shot. We can see lots of grass to go over before we get to the green. Now, obviously being ultra organised, I've only bought my 56 and my 7-iron. I'd probably play this with my 60, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 56 and just open the club face a little bit. So once I open that club face, I'll have to then just move my stance slightly to the left, but then the same technique, weight forward, and we see that nice, high, soft landing shot. Still rolled on a little bit, but a lot of golfers get confused with this where they feel like they've got to do something fancy, like open the club face way up, big swing, play that super high risk shot. And it's fantastic if it comes off like that, but if I thin that, it might kill someone on the other side of the trees, or I could hit it heavy. The chip shot becomes a really simple strike, easy to repeat, and even if you can't chip it stone dead or in, I've got 6 foot with a great chance for an up and down. Okay, so now we're just off the edge of the green. Not a lot to go over, but not a fantastic lie. And this is definitely where that old technique would get shown up. So again, I'm going to keep the 56 because this has got more bounce than my 7-iron. Get that simple setup, make the swing, lovely little strike. Definitely the ball just releasing a little bit more than I was allowing for. I don't overly mind that because at least if the strike's good, I can start making some better decisions on where I need to land the ball. Landed that a little closer. Just didn't factor in the little bit of break. So let's try and factor in landing point and break. It's a good shot. Is it going in? No. But even with my putting stroke, which you might have seen a couple of weeks ago, that's a definite one putt. So, like I said at the very start of today's video, if I'd have known about this technique years ago, I'd have been a much, much better chipper than I have been. I don't want you to wait 20 odd years to be a good chipper, so do what I've spoken about through this video, get some practice with the different clubs, start chipping it close, or maybe even start chipping it in.